Join me as we learn Chumash for Thursday Parshas Shemini, the fifth Torah reading, chapter 10, verse 16. Yesterday we continued with the laws pertaining to Aaron and his sons after the passing of the two older sons, that now they were supposed to continue eating and not mourn their brothers or his sons and celebrate with the Jewish people. Over here the Torah continues to tell us the laws that Moshe tells them and how they should observe and what they should eat from the animals. Ve'seir hachatas dorish dorash Moshe. Based on Moshe's instructions, Aaron and his sons ate their portions from the sacrifices, as we mentioned. So Moshe inquired about what happened now with the sin offering as well, the goat of the sin offering. And he noticed that Aaron and his sons were not eating it. V'hinei seiraf, and he saw that it was burnt, and he discovered it was burnt. Vayiktsef al Elazar v'Lisamar b'nei Aaron and Esarim, and he got upset at Elazar and Isamar, the surviving two children of Aaron. Lamor, saying, and he became angry at them. Rashi, Seir hachatas. What is this goat of the sin offering that we're referring to? Seir musveish Rosh Chodesh. This is the goat that was brought for the Rosh Chodesh because it was Rosh Chodesh Nisan at the time. It was the first of Nisan, and there was a special musaf offering, an extra offering of Rosh Chodesh that was brought. That day they brought 3 different goats for a sin offering. Sir Izim, number 1, a goat for the communal sin offering. Seir Nachshon, the goat that Nachshon brought because he was the first of the ones to bring for the dedication of the tabernacle. Seir Rosh Chodesh, and the goat for the offering of Rosh Chodesh, for the Musaf of Rosh Chodesh. Umikulam Nisraf Elazeh. Out of all of them, out of all 3, only one of them was burnt, was the one of Rosh Chodesh. V'nechlik b'davar Chachmei Yisrael. And there's a debate amongst the scholars of why. Yes, Shemini, some say, why was this burnt? Because it touched the impurity and therefore they had to burn it. Like we know, any type of time that flesh may become impure after it was already brought as a sacrifice, it has to be burnt. And some say they burnt it because they were in mourning and therefore they were not allowed to eat it. The reason why they believe that while they're in mourning and therefore they can't eat from it, because this was a sacrifice that would be brought in the future generations as well. Every single Rosh Chodesh, we have an obligation to bring this goat offering. Aval b'kachishah, when it came to sacrifices which were temporary, for example, the sin offering for the people, the sin offering that Nachshon brought, which those were only for that time, for that day, that some Chol Moshe that relied on Moshe, that he told them by the mincha, by the meal offering, that they should eat matzah, so therefore they ate that as well. However, when it came to the sin offering of the musaf, which that was not a unique sacrifice, it would be something that would be brought all times, they said that we can't eat, and therefore they burnt it. Darish, why does it say twice? And Moshe inquired. Shtei drishes, there were 2 inquiries. Number 1, why was this one burnt, which is the goat of the Rosh Chodesh? And why is this any different, and why did you eat the others? That means if you're burning, burn all of them. If you're eating, you eat all of them. This is the way it's explained in Torah's Kohen. Elazar v'Yisamar. Why does it say that he got angry at Elazar and Isamar? Because of the respect to Aaron, he turned away from Aaron and got angry at his children instead. Lamor saying, Amar Lam, he said, Heshivuni al dvarei. Don't be upset, answer me, why did you do this? Verse 17. Madua lo yachaltem. Why didn't you eat as achatas? Why did you not eat the sin offering for the first of the month? Mimkeim HaKodesh, in the place of holiness. Ki kodesh kadashim hi, this is of absolute superiority of holiness. And it was given to you that in order to gain forgiveness for the sin of the community, to atone for them lifnei Hashem, before God. Rashi. What does this mean? You think they ate it when the place where it wasn't holy? They burnt it. So what's he saying? Why didn't you eat it in a holy place? He told him, maybe you went outside the courtyard to eat it. And therefore went out and now became invalid. Because this is of absolute holiness. And therefore they can become invalid just by taking it outside the boundary. But they responded to Mulav. No, that's not what we did. We actually burned it in the laws like a holy item. He said, if so, if it never left the place of holiness, then why didn't you eat it? If the reason why you burnt it is because you took it outside the boundary, and outside the boundary would make it invalid, and that's why you burnt it, okay. But you're telling me that you didn't take it outside the boundary. So if so, why didn't you eat it? He tells them because when the Kohanim eat from the sacrifice, that is the way the owners become atoned. And the very fact you didn't eat from it, now the Jewish people won't be atoned. From here we learn how do we know that it was a communal sacrifice? But the very fact that he says that this is going to atone for the community teaches us that this was the Rosh Chodesh sacrifice. That the Rosh Chodesh sin offering is to atone for the sins of the impurification of the holy temple and the things that become unholy. Because we know the sin offering of Nachshon and the sin offering of the community, which was brought specifically for the 8th day, was not there to atone for any specific sin. Verse 18. Behold, its blood was not brought into the sanctuary, which would have also necessitated for it to be burnt. So then you should have been eaten it, in a holy place, like I commanded you, with the grain offerings. Rashi, if the problem was because since it was taken into the sanctuary, then you had the right to burn it, as it says, that any time it's an offering, its blood is brought inside the sanctuary, it should be burnt. But being that you're saying that it wasn't brought inside the sanctuary, then you should have eaten it, even though that you're mourning, because I told you that by the meal offering you should eat it. Like I commanded you. Where did I command you, Rashi says? Like I told you by the mincha, by the meal offering, that even though you're in mourning, you should be eating from the sacrifices. Verse 19. So Aaron responds. So Aaron spoke to Moshe. Did they offer up today their sin offering and their ascent offering today before God? Lifnei Hashem, before God. Like these befell before me while I'm in mourning. Ve'achalti chatas, and I would have eaten, and if I had eaten the regular sin offering today, hayoim today, hayitav be'inei Hashem, would this have pleased God? When God says that mourners shouldn't be eating from a sacrificial offering. Let's see what Rashi was answering. What Aaron was answering, the way Rashi explains it. Vayidaber Aaron, and Aaron spoke. Ein lashon dibra lashon az. When it uses a terminology, vayidaber means that he spoke with strength, with confidence. Shenemer, as it says, vayidaber ha'am, he spoke to the nation. Efsher, Moshe katzav al Elazar v'Yisamar. How is it that Moshe was the one that got angry at the children, Elazar and Yisamar, and who's the one that's answering? Va'arin hamidaber. And Aaron was the one that's answering and responding for them. Here, the only reason why they were quiet was out of respect to their father and for Moshe. Amru, they said, it is disrespectful that our father would be sitting, and we will respond for him. It is disrespectful that a student should answer for his teacher. Therefore, they were quiet and they waited for Aaron to answer. You would think it was because Elazar and Yisamar didn't have the strength and courage and the confidence to answer Moshe. Talmud Leimar. Therefore, we know it says later on in the verse in chapter 31 in the book of Numbers. Later on, when they came back from the war and Moshe forgot what the law was pertaining the purification of the vessels, Elazar had no problem getting up and saying what the law was. That means when he wanted to say something, he was able to say it. I found this in a book called Sifrei Zuta Panim Sheni. What does Aaron respond? What was Aaron coming to explain to Moshe? Ella, from Aaron's answer, from his answer we can understand the following. Amar lahem Moshe. Moshe gave along and gave first circumstances of what would be a case that would validate burning it. Moshe said, maybe, Shema zaraktam dama. Maybe you sprinkled the blood, and therefore, of the sin offering, while you were oinin and while you were already mourning, because a mourner who works in the holy temple desecrated that sacrifice, so therefore, you burnt it. Aaron answers, do you think Elazar and the summer brought those sacrifices when they were mourning and they were not allowed to bring it as a mourner? Ani krafti, I brought it. Shani kohen gadol makreveinen. Who's not allowed to bring a sacrifice is only a regular kohen who's not allowed to bring a sacrifice as a mourner. But today I brought the sacrifices, and a kohen gadol who's mourning is allowed to bring the sacrifices. And therefore, if so, that's not the reason why we burnt it, because they were allowed to bring it as a sacrifice that day. And this was only because this was something which, and this was permitted to them. Meaning, if this event would have happened, because he says, even if the people who died were not my children, or they're another relative that I have to mourn on, like these, like all of those that are mentioned in the Torah reading of Emor, that a kohen is allowed to become pure. And because he's allowed to become pure, that means that on their date of passing, he is not allowed to eat from the holy things. And if I would have ate from it, from the sin offering while I was mourning, hayitav, would that be good? Would that be a good thing? If I'm mourning, then I'm not allowed to eat from it. Hayoim, what do the rabbis explain as follows? Avlan in the when is he not allowed to eat it during the day? But a mourner at night is allowed to. Because the day of mourning, a person who's a oinen means the date of passing is only on the day of the burial. But the night afterwards already is not part of that day, and therefore he would be allowed to wait to eat it by night. Now this is the answer, the end of the answer of Aaron that he's asking, to this that Moshe asked, why didn't you eat it? Im shemaita, if you heard from God, that this is only by temporary things. You don't have the opportunity and you don't have the right to be lenient and say that this applies also by sacrifices for future generations. Meaning, what he was telling him as follows is, when it comes to a regular case of a sin offering, an onain is not allowed to eat, a person who's mourning is not allowed to eat from the sacrifices. When did God say that this leniency applies? Only concerning the sacrifices which are temporary, which are for today. The one of Nachshon and the one for the 8th day. But where do you know that applies? To the sin offerings that go for future generations. That's not part of the special sacrifices. And because of that, it was burnt and not eaten. Verse 20, Vayishma Moshe, Moshe heard it, Vayitav be'einav. And Moshe was pleased with what he heard. Verse 20, Vayitav be'einav, Hoida, he was pleased, he acknowledged, he was happy. He was not embarrassed to say, Loimar say, Loi Shemaita, you're right. I only heard from God when it came to temporary sacrifices. I did not hear about regular sacrifices. Moshe acknowledged and said, Aaron, you're right. And he was not embarrassed to say that he may have made a mistake. This concludes the Torah reading for Thursday, Parshas Shemini.